What's going on, guys? Big welcome to you all to our channel. We are Team Crushing the Map, and as you can see right here, I'm for you guys with a new video, and this time it's something different. It's on markers. So some of you guys have been making some of great art markers, like you can see right here, some of the custom markers. If you don't know how to do them, then this guy helped me out to do them. And when you go to Facebook, I will put the links in the description section below. You need to find the link where you have the templates. From that moment on, you can use whatever program that you want to use to make the markers. As you can see right here, this is a great guy, and he made already a video for us to check how to make them. I use a different program to make them, but it doesn't matter, whatever you want to use. Or if you already have the markers, like, you can send me the picture and I will try to make the marker for you, or send him the picture and he will try to make it as well. But when you go to Vanguards, there are a lot of different markers already made, or Vanguardians or whatever. You could just go through this and you will find a lot of different markers that people are making. Some of them are amazing, some of them look hideous. But it's really nice that we already have a lot of different markers. But today's video is more about printing the markers. So as you can see right here, I've already printed some and they look amazing. So some of them even look like they have a foiling, which is pretty nice, as you can see right here. And I will show you how to make that. So the first thing that you want to do is you want to make the markers, or have a friend of yours who could make you the marker. Or, as I said, send us a message and we'll try to help you out as well. Why not, if we have the time? So from that moment on, when you have already made the markers, then you come to a very important fact. And this is, let's say, the secret ingredient that I wanted to show you guys. So whenever you have the picture of the marker, there is something very important about it. So this is the picture that you get, and this is the picture that you want to make. The difference between these two is the colors on this one is more visible and it's a bit lighter. And that's very important because this will give you the effect as if the marker is more alive, as if it has a foiling. And when you print this one out, it would look more like a common and it doesn't look good. So let's make this a bit smaller and I could explain it for you guys. So as you can see, we have now two markers that we made. This one is, let's say, the enhanced, and this one is the normal one. So as you can see, the colors on this are a bit dark and the colors on this are way more clear, and they just jump in your face when you see the marker. As you can see, you also get the effect as of this is foiled, while here it looks more like a common. It's really easy to do that. I mean, you could even do it on your mobile. Some of you guys, whenever they make a picture, they want to like have a filter on it, and with a filter you can do this effect as well. It's way easier than using different programs to do this. But I normally, when I make the markers, I do this, and which is very important. Now we come to the size of the marker that you want to print it in. It depends on the card that you want to print it on. Like, I normally print my markers on the size of a Pokemon or Magic the Gathering card, because it's a bit bigger and it looks really good when you put the markers on the field beneath your Vanguard or Vanguard or whatever, because the card is a little bit bigger. If you wanted to make the same size as your normal cards, you could do that. So you go to the dimensions and you put the dimensions in that you want to put them in. The Vanguard card is about, it has the height of let's take this one, because we've already made that one in the size, and we could make this one as well. So it has the height of, let's say, 8.65 centimeters, and or if you use different, if you use inch or whatever, you could also check that out on Google, or just get a card yourself, like a Vanguard card or a Magic the Gathering card, and you could check the dimensions yourself. But you could also find everything on Facebook and Google. So, but if you already have the dimensions and you made the card in the right dimension, you also want to put as much cards next to each other as you can, because you're printing them out anyway. So you could do that as well. As you can see right here, I've already made some where I could put 3 next to each other, and they are in the right size. As you can see, this one is a bit bigger. It's 10 centimeter bigger than the normal one, which is a bit smaller. So this is more like a dimension of a Vanguard card, and this is the dimension of Magic the Gathering card, which is good for me. I like to make them a little bit bigger, so they will look way more amazing. But if you want to make them in the right size, you could do that as well. I will explain that later also when I show you how to cut the card and how to put it in a sleeve and everything. So if you have already done this, and you already made it a bit lighter and make the colors more visible, then you could print them out. The paper that you use for printing could be anything. You could just use normal printing paper that still looks good, but if you want to go next level, you could also print them on the paper that they use for pictures, so it has more of the, let's say, plastic foiling. That also looks good. So do whatever you like and whatever you have that you could use. I normally use just normal printing papers because I make a lot of markers, but if you really want to make them, let's say, look a little bit better, then you could just print them out on let's say picture paper. And to be able to put 3 markers next to each other, if you have a question about that, you could also do that on Word or whatever program that you use, but you could, right here, you could just choose how small or big this would be. So it's really up to you. I like this, so I could put more markers next to each other. As you can see, I also do that for decks. So let's say we have right here all of these cards, and it's just easier to cut when you do it like this. So you have like size between them, or a space between them, so it's easier to cut them. Yeah, there are a lot of things that you could do to make it easier for you, but that's with experience when you print more than one. This is something that I did for a friend that he wanted to try Pill Moon out, and I said, well, let's do that. Why not? So it gave him the chance to try Pill Moon without having to buy everything, because this costs you like maybe an hour of work and like $1 or $2 to print them out, which is nothing comparison to buying a whole deck or buying some cards to try them out. But you can also lend them from a friend to check them out as well. This is also possible. When you have the deck, you could play it like for fun, and when you attend tournaments, then you have to buy the cards, of course. So we go back to the force, or to the markers. As you can see, I used the Japanese one because I thought it's pretty nice, because we can't use them in tournaments anyway. So then you could print them in whatever language you want. You could also just make them your own, like write something on here. I put like Crushing the Meta on one of mine, which looks pretty nice. And also, I like to have the force effect back in every card, like you can see this right here, right there, and right there. On everyone, like, hey, what do you think of my own force marker? It looks nice, right? So now, if you have already done this, then you could print it out. So just print it and use colors, of course. That's pretty much, you could do that on any printer. Use colors and get the right size to print them, and then you're ready to go. Now let's jump to part 2 of this video. Right, so now let's go to part 2. For making the markers, as you can see here, put them in sleeves and they look good, you need to do different things. So you have already seen part 1 and you know how to print the markers, so you already have the markers done, how to make them and then how to print them. You got the right size, the size that you want. If it's a Magic the Gathering card size or it's Vanguard size, it's really up to you. Whatever size that you want to take, you want to print them in, but choose one. And you could also check that out yourself on how big they are, so it's really easy to get that. And you could always just like the most important thing is this dimension, because you could always take like from the black size of the marker to make it shorter if you want to, but normally you get the right size when you use the right template. So let's say that you already have printed your markers and now you want to put them on cards. So you could just use normal scissors or whatever scissor that you want to have or you have, and you could just cut them and have them in the let's take one like this one, the LR8. So it's really up to you how to do it. There are different ways to cut the cards. You could just normally cut them, which works with a scissor if you have a right scissor. Don't take a very small scissor because that's really hard to use or to manage. So you could just do that and it works. Also remember guys that I've already told you the let's say the secret ingredient on making these before printing it is to make the colors more visible. That on the screen they look like way too animated, but in real life they look more like they have a foiling, and that looks amazing when you print them and you put them on cards. Also remember that we are using different kind of sleeves, and with more sleeves, let's say when you double or triple sleeve them, even if the cards are foiling, all look the same. Sometimes a common looks better when you triple sleeve it than a foiled card because of the colors and because the different sleeves give you the foiling that you want. So now we have this LR8 marker. So what you want to do is pretty easy. You take this marker and you use different kind of sleeves, like clear sleeves. If you are using a normal Vanguard card, then of course you use the small or extra small sleeve that goes in, but we are now using a bigger dimension, which is the Vanguard the Gathering one. So you take that, you put the card in, and then you could also put this in here. If you do this, it's easier to put first the card in and then this. And as you can see, I put them this way in, so that you have the opening below the cards, let's say, or have the opening right here. So from this moment on, you have a very strong card, but you don't really like the back of this, of course, because it's a Magic the Gathering card. But it's easier to use this size because let's say the back of the card on the front of your card, because you want to have the thicker, not that much colored background for the card itself. So you do it like this, and now you have a card. From this moment on, you can put it in a sleeve. So let's say you put them in this kind of sleeve. So as you can see right here, the back of the card is Magic the Gathering, and then you put it in a sleeve. So if you do that, you could also put it in a clear sleeve, but normally you use some kind of a sleeve that you already want. You could also put it in a clear sleeve like this, and then use something else as a background of the card. Like you could also still use this as a background of your card, or just use anything that you want. But normally you will put it in a sleeve, which looks way better and looks way more professional. So you could put it like in this sleeve, and as you can see, if I put it all the way in, then on the top card you can't open it because the opening was on the other side. So that's also something that you really want to do. So when you put it all the way in, it doesn't open, so that looks amazing, and that's the secret behind it. And when you use different sleeves, so let's say you put it already in a clear sleeve and then you put it in another sleeve, then you can see right here it looks like it has a foiling, but normally it doesn't, but that's because you use multiple sleeves. So this is really how to make the markers. As I said, I'm using normal paper, but you could also use different paper that you use for making pictures. Like when you take a picture and you want to print that picture out, normally you use different kind of paper for that. You could also use that as well. That will give you more effective foiling and the card will be thicker itself. But normally just use a clear sleeve and just the back of the card, any card that you want. Don't use Pokemon card because they are way too thick and they also have way more coloring. Use just something that has less coloring, like you could use a Vanguard card like the Force marker itself or Protect marker to put them in. If you print them the same size, then that could work as well. But you could also just, if you want them bigger, as I like, to make them a bit bigger, so when you put them, let's say this is the Force marker and you put down the Vanguard on the top of it, you can still see the corners of the card. So when you put it like this, it looks a bit bigger, which is pretty nice. So yeah, that's actually it. Thanks guys for watching, and tell me what you think about these kind of videos. If you need help with different things like how to make videos or how to process something, I could help you out with that as well. So keep in mind, go to our YouTube channel, check us out, and go to our Facebook. And if you need any help with a marker, let's say you have a picture that you really want to have in a marker, you could just send me that and I will make it for you. It's pretty easy. I don't use the English template yet. I normally use the Japanese one because I think it looks amazing. And also we can't use these markers in tournaments. Keep that in mind, you can't use these in tournaments. You have to use the one that Bushiroad makes in, let's say, official tournaments, but in your own shop tournaments or whatever, when you play with friends, you can definitely use them, and they're a lot of fun to use, so why not to use them. Again, thanks for watching. Till next time.